Hello, everyone. How's it going? Hey. Wow, a lot of people joining in. Thank you so much for joining in. Let me hide the sticker. We have started. Hello, everyone. Uh, hope everyone's doing well. Welcome to the Agents Week. And wow, a lot of people, a lot of people. That's good. That's good. Hello. So, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Global Hack Week, Agents Week, and welcome to the session where we learn about Chrome DevTools and Playwright kind of DevTools in a way. Yep. So, my name is Utkarsh, but I prefer to go by UT because that's how everyone knows me. It's easier to remember. Uh, I am. I've been a coach at Major League Hacking for around 3 years now, three and a half years now, and I've been a streamer for similar time. I have done like over 100 streams, so that's a quick introduction about me. And once again, welcome everyone. And before we get started, I hope you all have checked in for these sessions. If you haven't, please do. Let me share the link in the chat once again. There you go. Please do check in for the session. Helps you, helps me, helps MLH. Okay. So, once again, welcome everyone. Now, what are we going to do for these sessions? So, for these sessions, my aim is to show you how to use Chrome DevTools MCP, how to use Playwright MCP. We'll actually test it on a demo project. We will actually try to test it on a live project as well. Uh, I have a repository that I have created. So if you have joined my previous streams, and I've streamed like nearly every Global Hack Week, maybe not the last one, but everything else. So if you have joined my previous streams, you know that I am a very big fan of people joining or kind of coding along with me. So if you want to code along, if you have access to a few tools like, let's say, Gemini, if API, which I will show how to get Gemini API key, and if you have VS Code, which I'm pretty sure everyone does, right? So VS Code, Node.js, Gemini API key, and we should be good to go. Okay, so I have created this companion repository. It has currently one project, which is Page Doctor project, but we'll have a lot more over the course of next 4 sessions. So I have 4 sessions planned. Like this is the session 1 of like Chrome DevTools part 1. We'll also have a Chrome DevTools part 2, which will be right after. So this is the first 2 hours, and then we'll take like 10 minutes break in between, and then another 2 hours of Chrome DevTools where we'll try to finish this, and we'll also try to, depending on the time, start with the Playwright sessions. We will so that's today, and then we also have 2 more sessions tomorrow where the focus is mainly on Playwright, but as the time permits, and as like if we end up early with all the projects, we'll have uh, again a ton of things to explore. And if we are like slightly short on time, you can still have the companion repository, which will be updated with all the code that we write. Okay, so yeah, that's about it. So to answer, and yeah, so you can fork the repository that I have shared. It has the starter code, and this is the one that we are going to build upon. Okay, we will need to get a Gemini API key, which I'll show you where to get it from. And yeah, I guess that's it as a quick way of introduction. Now, once again, I hope you all have checked in, and if not, please do. That's all I can say. Uh, okay, let's get started. Okay, so the way this session will work, let me give you a very quick overview. Uh, I'll give you an introduction, so there will be a bit of me talking about something, and every time I talk, I will be on screen. But sometimes when I code, I go off screen so that you can focus mainly on the screen, and it's like big enough for you all to see. Uh, so that the second thing is that all these sessions are very much beginner friendly, which means that some of these things might be very basic for some of you and very easy. Maybe you already know it. Maybe you've already used Chrome DevTools. Maybe you've like built some amazing things. So do share in the chat if you have done so much, like used it, if you have built something, if you used it in a different manner. uh, but yeah, these sessions, the next four sessions are aimed at beginners. It's literally a getting started kind of sessions. So if you find it boring and if you think that, oh, I've already done this, I would still request you to please stay and help others in the chat. I guess that's one way to put it. uh, just share your knowledge, everything that you have learned, share with others in the chat. And if you are a very beginner, then I am aiming to ensure, like, I'm aiming that I, with these sessions, I actually help you figure out, uh, like how to use certain tools and how to, make your life easier. Okay. With that, let me also check the questions. So, uh, in the middle, I'll be checking the questions. I'll answering the questions, and if there's delay, that's just because I've not checked the questions. So don't worry. As I come to it, I will answer them. So let me see. Uh, what is Chrome DevTools? A little explanation. I will give one. Should we code along? Yes, you can. Okay, and that is why the companion repository, you can fork the repository and then clone from your user. I already see 10 folks, which is nice, I would say. Yeah, you can fork the repository. 12. Oh, wow. Keeps increasing. Nice. So at least there are 12 people who are coding along with me. Uh, yeah, you can fork it and then clone it and then, work along with me. Uh, I think as if you have it cloned via code spaces and you push it, so fork it, okay, not clone it, fork it and then open in code spaces the your user version of this repository, and then if you commit, I think it should work. But if there's any error, I'm not sure. Like if you could try it again and paste the error, maybe that will help. That's all I can say. And yep, here's the repo link. And okay, cool. So with that, let's get started. Okay, so we have around 2 hours to learn together, to build this together. And okay, step one. Let me get you the Chrome DevTools MCP link. I'll open it here and also their GitHub. Okay, and let me share these links in the chat for your reference as well. Okay. And before I get started, there's one question. Will these tools help with improving open source contribution? I would like to say yes, as in, like, it depends on how you use these tools, right? So, example, I am building a component library, and in the previous sessions, we have built like apps which might not be exactly productionized, but are as good. Uh, like one of the ones is teleconjure .netlify.app. I think it's COLOR. Yeah. So this project is one of the projects that we built actually as part of these Global Hack Week sessions. It was also on uh, if I remember. It was also on the Hacktoberfest, so open source yeah, the Hacktoberfest once. The repository was part of it, and people have contributed to it. So we'll actually be using this repository today to kind of like experiment with Chrome DevTools MCP and go on this repository and do some stuff. So yeah, can help you. That's all I'll say. Okay, but before we dive more into it, what it is. Okay, so Chrome DevTools MCP. Let's first understand MCP. As I said, this is a very basic thing, so you might already know, but let's start with that. So MCP, or Model Context Protocol, it was created by Anthropic as as a standard way, I would say, to hand an AI assistant a set of tools. Okay. Now, what set of tools am I talking about? Let's start with a very simple set of tools. Not assume, there must be a Gmail MCP possibly, but let's say there isn't, or let's say we create one, Gmail MCP. So what are the tools? So let's visualize it. On Gmail, you can, number one, see all your emails, right? So there is an inbox section which shows all your emails. Then it is further categorized or subcategorized in like promotions, updates, social. I think these are the default four categories that you can see on Gmail, right? Then you have the ability to write an email and send it to someone. Okay, so if we focus just on these aspects, just on these parts of Gmail, uh, if each button is a tool, can we programmatically call that tool? Okay, so if each button has a definition, so example, inbox is uh, one of the things that you can call or click, and there's also a description or definition that inbox shows all emails in inbox. Then you have like promotions, like get all the promotional emails. It shows all promotional emails. That could be like advertisements, it could be like something you have signed up for and they're sending out promotional email that there's a discount, so discount emails kind of. Then you have like a button which is like social, and that contains everything like, let's say, uh, Facebook updates, Snapchat updates, or Twitter updates, X, sorry. uh, so it depends on like what kind of promotional emails you're getting, sorry, social feed emails that you're getting. Okay, I don't know if Blue Sky sends one, but maybe. So these are your social emails. So the tool will, or MCPs are basically a way of handing these tools to AI agents and telling them that, let's say, this tool will give you access to this information. So when the user says that delete all my promotional emails, step one would be to find what are all the promotional emails. Okay, like as an example. So in the list of all the tools available to your AI agent, it will be like, okay, promotional emails. Step one, I want to find all the promotional emails. So the tool name is promotional, and there's also description. This description will help the AI agent to understand which tool to call. Once it calls that tool or runs that tool, it gets all the promotional email, and then there may be a second tool which will be like delete. Okay, so the delete will allow deleting all those promotional emails. So in a way, these are like, if you think about it holistically, like one level up, it's like a REST API endpoint where you have a get, you have a post, something similar, uh, delete, but this is more aimed towards AI agents. Okay, so these are tools with descriptions and actions that can be performed on those tools, using those tools, not on those tools, using those tools. And so this is a way to hand, like MCP is a way to hand AI assistant those tools, and MCP server is basically a small program that exposes these tools. Now, if you have like not attended one of my previous sessions, it's okay. uh, right, but if you go on this GitHub, you will find that we actually created one, mini memory MCP, okay, which was an MCP tool to save the memory of your AI agents on a SQLite database. Okay, so we had created some tools. Let me open it here. So we had created some tools, which was like list all memory, and there's a description and what kind of input does it expect, and then what will it return as an output, then create a memory. So all of this was done so that you could basically save every conversation you have with, let's say, Claude, or every conversation you have on your Copilot, and save it. And then you can also view that memory using a UI. Okay. So in the past, we have created this. So this was a way of handling some tools to, like, I think in these sessions, we tested it out on Claude, if I remember correctly, and also on Copilot. Okay. So yeah, a way of handling tools. And then all it did was, all the conversations, I was like, once these conversations are done, save it in memory using the mini memory MCP, and compact the conversations as well. So what it would do is, it would go into the list of MCP tools that are available. When I said save a memory, it would go for memory create. And if I would say, oh, read memory of this particular keyword, let's say DevTools or MCP keyword, then it would go in this MCP tools, check what is the best one, best tool to use from this. So since I said, like, can you retrieve all memories, or can you get me all memories that you have saved about uh, Chrome DevTools MCP, then it would go and check for the best tool available based on the description. The description also tells it which is the best tool available, and then it would pass in some input and return some output. Okay, so it's either this or memory list, I think. Okay, list all save memories newest first, something like that. So, and we also added some compression rules so that the memories are not big and stuff, like not huge. So this is a way of interacting, or MCPs are basically tools that can be given to an AI agent, can be any AI agent, and it exposes these tools so that the AI agents can connect to it, call them, run something for you, some workflow, anything. Now, our focus is going to be on uh, two of them that I heavily use every day, kind of at work, uh, and also in personal projects. So, the first one that we want to talk about is the Chrome DevTools MCP. So, it's a MCP server built by Chrome DevTools team. It runs a real browser. Uh, okay, it starts a Chromium browser, either via Puppeteer. Via via Puppeteer. Yeah, so it runs a real Chrome browser via Puppeteer and the Chrome DevTools protocol, which is the list of tools, and exposes it. So in a way, you can think that it is giving your AI agents a DevTools panel. Okay. So when you have DevTools and when you have access to a browser and you're building web applications, the way you can interact with the page, example, like going on the search button and searching something, going on drop downs and like clicking some options here, or navigating through it, or even like going and doing inspect. Yeah, sorry, I couldn't see inspect behind my screen. So going on inspect, going on console and trying to find any errors and fixing them, uh, and even actually just checking the elements tab and seeing, oh, this particular section, okay, I want to change the CSS of it, I want to change the text there. So if you, whatever you could do, you have basically given that entire DevTools panel and Chrome to your AI agent. So it can navigate, it can click, it can fill forms, read console, network requests, check network requests. It can do performance testing. It can do like throttling of CPU. It can run lighthouse tests. Everything in a way driven by a prompt. Okay, instead of you going and clicking. So it can literally generate this lighthouse report. So that's a very quick introduction. Now, why would this matter? Why is this so good? Or like, yeah, what's the use here? So someone has rightly actually said in chat, it's basically enhances our AI agents to increase the productivity. Yes, and I would go a bit further and say that, uh, imagine an example. Okay, going back to this website, and I say that, oh, this add color set button doesn't work. If I am like, and majorly I am using some sort of AI tool to write the code or like view the code or write test, something like that, and I give it that uh, issue, or I tell it that issue that this button doesn't work, then the agent is going to guess based on the code that, oh, maybe this is not working, maybe that is not working. uh, you can enhance it a bit further and go like, oh, when I like click on the button, I see this error in console. So you take a screenshot, you send that, or you enhance the context a bit, and then your agent will guess better. Instead, if you say, oh, the app is running on localhost 5173, and there's this add color set button which doesn't work, then the agent, and use Chrome DevTools MCP to open the page and actually try it and find the error, then the AI agent is going to like open the page in browser, click the button, read the console error, or even see the elements tab and say, oh, the button has been marked as, let's say, I don't know, disabled. Okay, like it can check, oh, the button is disabled or something like that. Apparently that didn't work. Oh, because I added it in the wrong place. uh, hmm, okay, so it has been marked disabled. And why is it disabled? It will try to check that out and, have full reference, uh, edit the file, reload, confirm that the error is gone. So it literally closes that entire loop of errors, or uh, of you telling an issue, it finding issue, fixing it, and like kind of, getting you ahead. So in a way, uh, I guess, yeah, that's one way to say it, right? That it closes that entire loops, and it can observe, verify, generate code, and not just guess after this point. So if I have to call out some benefits, example, if you are copy pasting console output, now you can just tell it to read the console errors with source maps or stack trace, and fix it. If you have been telling agent, oh, the page still is loading very slow, your agent can actually open it, run a trace and run some insights, reload the page, see the time it takes for the network calls and everything, and actually give you some proper DevTools performance. Okay. If you are like telling it to fix something and then you go and check if it has been fixed. So example, I say, oh, the button is disabled, it guesses, it fixes, and it could be right in the fix, it could be wrong in the fix, either things can happen. And oops, yeah. Uh, yeah, so you manually going and checking and guessing. Instead, it would be the AI agent which will actually check if the fix has worked. Okay. And the issue is like, oh, it works on my machine but not on their machine. So it can also emulate certain things, like, what if, so similar, if you know, like, if you go to network tab and you go like, oh, the website should load as slow 4G, and you reload it, then it can emulate this timings of these things as well. And excuse me, can do auth for you. You can like, uh, let's say you have a test auth for your website, and you can go like, oh, here's the test ID password, go through the entire flow, can drive it. So it can drive a browser like you're logged into that website, kind of. Okay. So yeah, I guess those are all the benefits I can say of having this. uh, but at the same time, um, quoting Spider-Man, I guess. With great power comes great responsibility. And in this case, remember, when you give your agents access to your website or a browser, uh, the agent can actually see everything on that browser. Okay, so every tab, cookie would be logged. Uh, since these are tools that literally give it access to the entire suite of uh, things that it can do, uh, context, okay, you will end up using your tokens way quickly. Okay, so a long browsing session will eat tokens very fast, because the feedback loop is like try, reload, check it again, try, reload, check it again, kind of. Okay, and currently it is okay, so currently it is officially supported for Chrome, as I would say. And it can work on other ones, but Chrome. Okay, and also there are some, like, if you're using it at your company, uh, make sure that you check in with your, like, company policies, like, usage statistics and other trace URLs that might be switched on by default, and it will be collected. So if you don't want to send such usage statistics, make sure that it is, like, kind of disabled. So I guess the major problem could be the agent can see everything. So if you're logged into your bank or something, some banking details, I would suggest please don't run it. Okay, and the second would be the context cost. Okay, that is real. Okay, you will end up using a lot more tokens to snapshots, screenshots, everything that is taken to kind of verify certain things. Long running browser sessions will, like, you'll end up using your daily quota every hour, or even like less than an hour. Okay, so that's, I guess, a hopefully a good enough introduction, which tells you about Chrome MCP. I think I've scared you all also, but nothing to be scary in our case, as we are using it for very short demos, uh, just to show you what you can do and not do with it. And we'll also be building a project with it. We'll try and check a few things with it. Okay, so with that, uh, if you are following along, make sure that you have Node.js installed. Make sure you have Chrome installed. When you install Node.js, ideally you will also have npm installed, but if not, please make sure that you have npm. uh, yeah, I guess that's it. Okay, now there are multiple ways to add this. So there is the entry point here of, like, how you can add Chrome DevTools MCP. If you go to their GitHub repository, also, I'm not sure if I've shared these links in the chat, but let me share it again. So this is their introduction, and this is the Chrome DevTools MCP GitHub repository. And they have details on how to configure it for different clients. Yeah, different clients. So let's say Claude Code is here. You would also have, like, Visual Studio here. Click on this button to directly install it. You have, like, Open Code. You have Gemini CLI, how to run it there. Cursor, Copilot, or VS Code. The easiest way is to install Chrome DevTools MCP as an agent plugin. So here's exactly what you need to do. Hmm, okay. So, I guess that's very quick way of how to add it. Now, in our case, we will do both. Okay, we'll try it in on Claude, and we'll also try it on, like, VS Code. Follow these instructions exactly and install it. So now, after this point, I will be coming and going off screen just so that you have the entire screen context. And at any point, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in chat. And as soon as I come back on screen or slash I divert my attention towards the chat, I will answer them. Okay. So uh, hopefully you have VS Code and you have cloned the repository if you want to follow along. Even if you don't want to follow along, that is completely fine. All you have to do is ensure that you have uh, one of the two things. Uh, that is, either you have VS Code or you have Claude Code. So in our case, let's follow the guide exactly. Okay. I don't want to divert from it and show you some commands which uh, you forget. So the suggestion here is, if you want to install via CLI MCP only, then there's this. Otherwise, the other option is you can install it as a plugin which has MCP plus skills. Okay. And you can run slash plugin marketplace add chrome devtools slash this and then install it, right? Like this, and then you can check all the skills using this command. So now in my case, I have it installed. So what I'm going to do is step one, remove it. So I was looking at this question. VM, sure, I guess, in a way. uh which folder am I? Yeah, I am on the correct folder. Yes, I trust this folder, and this uninstalled, and reload. Okay, perfect and clear. So in our case, if I go over to my plugins list, I should ideally not have it installed. Okay, I have a few plugins installed, but not Chrome MCP plugin. Cool. So let's follow the guide exactly. Step one is to add the marketplace. So I can just do marketplace, add, and there we go. It's done. And then we can run reload plugins. And now if I go to slash plugins, it should be in my installed list. Oh, sorry, in my marketplace. I should have Chrome DevTools plugins in the marketplace because that's what we have done. We have added the marketplace. Then step two is to install the plugin itself. So let me just copy this one and we can just quickly run it. And I want to install it for you, aka user scope. So installing. Okay, let me give it some time to install. It's huge. It has a lot of skills that will also see a lot of tools that are available as well. So yeah, and meanwhile, back to the questions. Uh, you can if you want to, but I'm not suggest on. I'm not showing anything. Okay. So we'll do it two ways. So one is in I'm adding it as a tool in Claude Code, I'll also show you how to add it in VS Code, again, following the details exactly. Okay. And then the next question is, so it is, oh, so yeah, it is. It is, exactly. It is a tool puller which makes it easier than API for AI assistance. Okay. Next is, let me just reload plugins and reload skills and clear and skills. And there we go. These are all the skills that I have available. Okay. Chrome DevTools MCP A11Y, which is accessibility debugging, Chrome DevTools, CLI, uh, optimize LCP, memory leak debugging, troubleshooting, like all these are options available. And if you go to slash plugins and installed, you can see the Chrome DevTools plugins. There is like you can update it, but I am 100% on the latest version. If I check their releases, yeah, I think the latest release is 1.6.0. Yeah, so that's fine. And the skills it has, the MCP server, and yeah, I guess that's basically it. And if I go here, there is just literally one plugin in this marketplace. Okay, cool. So that's about adding on Claude Code. We followed the instructions exactly. And now let's follow the instructions exactly again for VS Code. Okay. So VS Code, the suggestion is Copilot slash VS Code. The easiest way to get up and running and the recommended way is to install as a plugin. So Command Shift P on Mac OS or Control Shift P on Windows or Linux. So let's do that. And then we have to search for chat install plugin from source. Okay. And in this, paste in our repository name. Okay. So there we go. Yes, I trust it. And it's cloning right here. You can see on the bottom right. Yeah. Let it finish cloning, and that's it. The agent will be supercharged after this. So once it finishes cloning, I'll show you where you can find it. Meanwhile, let me see the questions. Awesome. Uh, if you're done, thank you so much for following along. Uh, we will be a tad bit slow. I am so sorry. I apologize for that. But as I said in the beginning, these sessions are aimed at beginners, so the pace is slightly slower. Yeah. Meanwhile, yeah. Uh, while it's loading, now from Claude perspective, let's try and use it on Claude, or actually, let's wait. Actually, let it clone and finish cloning. Okay. But once that is done, we can be very basic. We can be very basic in terms of like what we want to run it with. Uh, the plugins that it installs, it will be like Chrome DevTools. It will be like debug, optimize, LCP. Uh, so the Chrome DevTools, you saw that is basically general usage patterns for the tools. The debug, optimize, LCP, it is for diagnosing uh, and fixing largest contentful paint. The accessibility debugging, it's for accessibility tree investigation that, uh, let's say you're building something which needs to be very accessible, let's say banking website, like, so that screen readers can read it and stuff. Uh, yeah, so that is where you would use that particular skill. Memory leak debugging will be for like, heap snapshot workflow, and troubleshooting would be in general fixing stuff. Okay. Now in VS Code, there are other ways of also adding it. Okay, by the way, uh, while it is preparing, okay, it is done, and that should be it. While it is preparing, let me also show you another way of doing it. like what we could have done is like we could have created a folder .vs code, and in that we could have created mcp.json, and in here we could have pasted this thing which is coming from their website. Okay, slightly changed because mcp servers is used by like everyone else. Like Cursor, I think, uses MCP servers, but VS Code uses like servers and then the name of the server and the command and the arguments. Okay. In our case, all we wanted to do is just add Chrome DevTools MCP. Okay. So Cursor and other clients mostly use MCP servers. VS Code uses servers. So yeah, just one thing to remember. Okay. Once that is done, we can hit the start button. And if you go on these sessions, I think I'll have to wait for it to finish. But once you go on these sessions, you can go into the agent mode and actually see it. I don't want to disturb this finishing. Otherwise, it might end up with errors. So I'm just waiting for it to finish here. You can see all the installed extensions and recommended extensions and the MCP servers uh, right here on the extensions tab. So you can see like here we have installed this one, the agent plugins that is currently running and preparing. Might take slightly 2 or 3 more minutes for it to finish. Okay. And it has all the details. So if you have followed those instructions exactly, which is right here, the Copilot VS Code, you can you'll also see these bits in the extensions tab. And how did you clone it after it asked to enter a GitHub repository? So actually, it just says that please paste this when it asks you for it. Okay. If you're on other uh, editors, yeah, other editors like Cloud Desktop, Cursor, Windsurf, uh, I guess the standard config is exactly what is here, which is MCP servers, Chrome DevTools, headless mode, and with a bunch of other things. Okay, you can do that. The link to the repository, the Chrome DevTools MCP, here you go. Uh, our version of like using it, here you go. It doesn't say anything under installed MCP servers. Might take a bit of time to load. So in our case, it has finished loading. I will just quickly reload the window for it to take effect properly. Okay. And if I go into the agent mode, uh, you can see the MCP resources, and in those MCP resources, we'll have a list, or you can also check it in the list of tools. Oh, no, no dictation, please. So these are some built-in tools, and these are Chrome Dev tools, and I can run update tools and okay. Now in our case, I am not going to keep this here because we have added it by the official recommended way. So I think this should be like this should not be really needed. Now, uh, once you have done all of that, let's move on to actually using it. So multiple ways. Uh, we can start by actually, let's say, prompting it to check the performance of developers.chrome.com. So let me just share the page that I am going to ask it to check. Okay, so this is the page that I'm going to ask it to check. This is for educational purposes only. Okay, so a big disclaimer, educational purposes only. We have installed an MCP tool and we want to test it out. So I'm just going to give it a very simple prompt on the actual website. Uh, excuse me. Uh, the website that actually gives us access to MCP tools, we can use that. And the other suggestion would be to use something that we have already built. Uh, we can test it out on that. Okay. So let's go to terminal. And someone rightly said, I love Claude Code. Yes, it is good. I also love Copilot and Gemini at the same time. Everything, anything that works for me is what I love, right? So I'm going to tell it that use Chrome DevTools MCP and check the performance of this. Okay. A very simple one. And also let me share this in the chat as a prompt. Okay, so it's asking like plug in Chrome DevTools MCP, want to open this new page, and I'm going to say yes. And let me show you what it did. It actually started a Chrome browser. As you can see, this is Chrome is being controlled by automated test software. So we know that this is actually kind of controlled. Then it's saying start performance trace, and it's using this particular skill or tool. And I say yes, and let it work through it. And it is calling it 2 times. You can see all the details that it is actually doing underneath, under the hood, using Control O. So we'll do this here, and then we'll also try and do this using uh, Copilot. Okay. Is it asking me any questions? Yes, it wants to do some analysis. So I'm going to say yes for 4 things. So it tried to analyze like 4 things there. And there we go. Got the output. So LCP is 1327 milliseconds. Field and verdict good, needs improvement good, just under 200 millisecond bar. And okay, I guess in a way, a lot of insights around Chrome developer page, developer Chrome page. I would say, yeah, good enough for us to actually understand. And it got all of this without me doing anything. Opened the page, ran it, and done. Okay. Oh, okay. So here we are with this one and auto mode. And let's tell it to do the exact same thing. But in this case, I'm actually going to tell it to check the performance of our version of the website, or no, not our version of our website that we have hosted once upon a time. So let me give it this one. It's optimizing tool selection. Good. While it does that, let me check if any questions. And here we go. This one actually opened Chrome uh, DevTools. I'm allowing in this session a bunch of things, running Lighthouse audit, new page on a fresh tab. Okay, Lighthouse I think is being run. Okay, so I mean, you can like security wise, there are a bunch of things that you could do, not a scope of these sessions. Okay, what else can it do other than checking in on MLH platform? Nothing else. So it automatically and then it starts testing. Yes. So is the point just to check health webs? No, you can do a bunch of things. From an example perspective, I think the health check is the easiest. Okay, it tells you everything, uh, like all the tools that are available. Okay, so there will be a bunch of things we will do. Don't worry about it. uh, you can use it to actually build the entire website, but that would be again out of scope for these sessions because that's too much. Okay, uh, but yes, there's a lot of things that you can do uh, with MCP tools. Like, it's about how you optimize the tools, and as I said at the beginning, these are more aimed at beginners, so I'm going from that perspective. Okay. So you can check it, Lighthouse style navigation here for this. Performance trace with 4G and 4x CPU slowdown on mobiles, basically. Deep insights for LCP breakdown, render blocking, dependency chain, third party impact, cache policy, unthrottled trace. Didn't even know half of these things existed. Critical request chain under throttling, HTML, then local CSS, then Google font CSS, and then this is basically downloaded. Okay. uh, Max critical path latency is 577 milliseconds, so zero point 0.5 seconds to download something. Render blocking is main app style sheet and Google font style sheet that you want to check. And I'm using Celine.so to basically check how many users are visiting the website. So kind of uh, cookies, but not storing cookies, privacy. But yeah, that actually lives for 4 hours, which is inefficient for repeated visits. Bad, okay, can be improved. Caching wise, can be improved. Overall performance is strong. It's good under this. Main optimization is first render text or font path. Okay, and yeah, again, bunch of things that you can read and optimize. I guess that's all that I wanted to show. Like, MCP server works, runs, uses the tools that we have installed, and actually checks. In this case, we only asked it to check the performance of a website. Okay. Now, uh, disclaimer once again: educational purposes only. So only visit websites by checking what they allow you to do. Okay. Okay. Only visit websites that allow you to actually do it or check it. In our case, I allow you to use this particular website to do whatever you want. Okay. Uh, yes. Okay. So closing that. Now moving on to the next bit. How do these tools actually work? Okay. So there is something called as a snapshot that it runs, which is kind of a text accessibility tree. And you can see that if you go in inspect elements, and why do I not see it? I need to add it. So more tools, and come on. I need to click on this bit. Oh, it's here, bottom. It's like, where is it? The show accessibility tree. So this is the accessibility tree, which is basically how the page will be progressed. Okay. So it tells like, uh, oh, from this point, this is where it will go. So for assistive technologies, or let's say tabbing through the parts of the page, uh, that is kind of driven by accessibility tree. So there's a link, there's heading, static content, and if I do tab, okay, it tells like which parts of the tree are changing. Example, in this button, the remove button, it is focusable true, and it is currently focused true. And if I do shift tab, okay, uh, yeah, now I'm focused on the add color set button and now remove button. Okay, kind of, not kind of, as you can see. So this is the accessibility tree, which tells how, like, how to read the page. Okay. uh, and this is used by any assistive technologies to read a page, right? So now, what DevTools internally does is it tries to take a snapshot, because it it can't really see the pixels technically, right? It can read the text. It can, like, it can take screenshots and read some bits and pieces of that, or actually more like the screenshots are more for you than for the model. What it tries to do is uh, go through each interactive element and assign it a UID. Okay, so UIDs are just IDs to different parts of the page, different parts of the tree, and if anything changes, in that case, it will recreate all the UIDs. Okay, so example, let's say there is this particular button. Okay. So it will create a UID which could be something like UID underscore 1 underscore 2 underscore 3. Okay. And then it tries to choose from that option. So it will go through this and choose an option, and it can basically select a value. So it will create a tree of like UIDs, like UID1, and then inside that UID1, and then inside that UID1, which is a text box, and you can fill a value, or it's a drop down, you can choose a value, and that's what it tries to do. So it takes a snapshot or UID, and it tries to assign values, set in inputs or whatever, and then runs it. Okay, so in our case, the original example that I was giving, where we said that, oh, the button is disabled, what do I do? In that case, it's going to again assign a UID, check what is the value of that button, is it disabled, true or false, why is it not clickable, and yeah, try to click it. So from that UID, so it's literally giving target element IDs. Okay, and these target element IDs can change as the DOM changes, or every time you do a uh, not every time you do a reload, but kind of you do when you do a reload. Okay. Now, if something is not in accessibility tree, then an agent cannot reliably target it. example, a div is not exactly a accessible element in a way. Okay, so if it has no role, it has no label, and it has a click handler, then in that case an agent won't be able to actually target it. And this is not MCP limitation, it is more of an accessibility limitation. Okay, it's a more of accessibility bug. Okay, and think of it in this way, that if a screen reader cannot hit that point of your screen, then in the same case an MCP won't be able to hit that element on screen. Okay, so anything that is visible here is what an MCP agent can actually target. Okay, whatever is not here, it's very difficult for an MCP agent to target, and that is why uh, building accessible websites is such a big thing. Okay, and I think a quick Google search should get you there, but let me try to give you some URL which would be good. Here's a link, and this. Okay, you can read through it, understand it, but basically you want to ensure that you are using HTML, like the markup. Okay, you're using the tags, the attributes correctly, you're using things that are accessible, you are able to target elements using some either data test IDs or data reference IDs, like some data dash attributes, something. Okay. Uh, okay. Again, not going to focus too much on accessibility. Here's a very good detailed website about it. But just to tell you that if it is not in accessibility tree, it makes life of your MCP or your agent using the MCP tools a lot more difficult. Okay, and the tools that are normally exposed by default, like there's a lot, but I can give you a quick summary. You will have like click, hover, fill a form, type a text, press a key, drag element, upload file, dialog. So everything that you can do as a user can be done by MCP. Navigate to a page, of course, open a new tab, new page, list all the open pages or open tabs, uh, select a particular page, close a page, wait for some time, so that, let's say, after reload you want to wait for content to appear, and there's a spinner, so it can basically wait. You can ask it to emulate network conditions like offline, slow 3G, fast 3G, everything that you can see in a network tab, you can ask it to also do. Okay, it can resize a page, so the same way we are resizing it, it can resize a page as well. uh, yeah, I guess that's it. It can take screenshots, snapshots, console messages, of course, because that is the main bit, right? Uh, of this entire project, like reading console messages, debugging, evaluating a script, so it can run JavaScript functions on a page. Okay, but it will return or must return JSON serializable data. So JSON.stringify and JSON.par should work on it. It can do lighthouse audit. We actually saw it doing that. It can take snapshots, keep snapshots. So if you right click, inspect, and performance memory. Yeah. So taking a snapshot here, heap snapshot. So it checks the memory distribution of JavaScript objects and related DOM nodes. Let me start taking a snapshot, and there we go. We have a snapshot, 23.9 MB, and my compiled code is taking the most time. Uh, okay, and these are all the functions that are running internally and how much time each of them is taking. So if the memory of this tab increases over the time, that's what you call as memory leak. Okay, and you can use Chrome DevTools MCP to identify memory leaks. Okay. Okay, I guess, and there are some opt-in functionalities. So like there are some experimental flags that you can enable. So you can have like experimental vision, which allows it to click at a certain location, like X and Y coordinate, and it will click here kind of. You can, I think there's also an experimental memory, which other than just take a heap snapshot, it can also enable a lot more. Okay, a lot more functionalities of checking memory leaks. Okay, uh, and I don't know if you have noticed, in application tab there is a web mcp. That's a new tab or new functionality, so you can enable it. So start interacting with your web mcp agents here. I think you have to enable this experimental flag in your mcp, and then here you can actually interact with it. Okay, I have not enabled that that experimental flag. Uh, I can quickly check what's the exact word name of it. I think it is experimental memory. Chrome MCP. Yeah, I think so. So if I go back here, and here's the link. So you can check the configuration, how to start it. And yeah, here we go, experimental options. Okay. So these are experimental options and may change behavior anytime. And if you enable it, you get basically access to a lot more things. Example, this experimental, where is it? Vision, structured content, include all pages, ffmpeg, web mcp. Yeah. uh, Category experimental web mcp or dash dash category experimental mcp web mcp enables debugging web mcp tools, requires this version. Okay. And memory debugging, okay, false. Default is false, you can set it to true. So yeah, you can basically try and set these flags, and you get a lot more options to check a website. Okay, I've not tried this one yet. Maybe soon, or maybe tomorrow we can try it out together. Okay, so I guess that's a very huge introduction and some examples. Okay, uh, a few other things, flags that you can set. There's a headless flag. So headless flag basically means that do you want to show the browser or not. In our case, we want to show the browser so that I can prove it to you. But if you are using it every day, you can have headless set to true, which means that it can do things on Chrome website in the background without you actually checking the the browser page. Okay, without you actually looking at browser page. And you can set auto connect, which is also an option here. So it will auto connect to an instance, a locally running instance of Chrome. You can set a viewport height, like what should be the size of all windows. uh, you can have proxy servers. So if you're behind a company proxy or something, you can set proxy servers to kind of route. And yeah, I guess that's it. Okay. Any questions so far? I think there was one question that I saw and I missed. Oh, yeah, this one. What's the real difference between MCP and normal REST API? Now, that is a very interesting and very good question, I would say. And very interestingly, the other day, I had seen a blog which detailed around it. So I would actually give you the link to that blog. Let me just quickly find it because I had stored it. I was like, yeah, this is, quite good. Quite good. Here we go. So here's a very big detailed page of uh, when to use REST, when to use MCP, and what's the difference between them. Okay, details about you know uh, what was REST doing, which it couldn't help with line. Why did MCP come in? Okay, so I guess if I have to summarize it in like one line, the problem or the missing bit of REST and MCP is the tool description. Okay, so REST can give you like kind of endpoints and some verbs, action verbs, what you can do on those endpoints. But for an MCP, you want to also give a tool description of what it is supposed to be used for. So no self description at runtime. This is where REST falls short for AI agent. Okay. So, and stateless by design, like REST was not built for AI agents. So, in that case, again, we needed an MCP server where you could save details. Okay. And yeah, a bit more details. So, please do read this. I think it's a good one. It's not a sponsored blog, don't worry. I just came across it the other day when I was researching for this session. I was like, what would be easier? This blog, because if I get this question, and I'm so glad I got it. Thank you so much for that question. I could just share this because I think it's pretty detailed. Okay, pretty detailed. Okay, cool. Going back to our project now. So we have uh, tried one prompt. Okay, we can enhance the prompt as much as we want. Uh, we can like let's try a few prompts, and this time we will try it on the example domain or the color conjure, like one of those two. Okay, so anything that is publicly allowed to be checked and tested. Cool. I am again saying only use it for educational purposes. Please don't try and abuse it. Okay, please. uh, Great power comes great responsibility. Use it to help people, I guess that's the one way to put it. Okay, so going back. Okay, color conjure. So there are a few prompts that we can run. Example like performance, which we have done. Errors, okay, that we will try it. We can run some network load request. Interaction, okay. I can say that, create a suite of colors, okay, primary, secondary, and tertiary colors for my website, which should be predominantly bluish green slash uh, teal. Okay, so let's try that. Okay. So let me, how do I clear? Yep, clear this, and let's start. Use Chrome MCP and open this and create me a palette of primary, secondary, and tertiary colors, which should be shades of teal. Okay, so this is my prompt that I'm giving it, and let's watch it in action. Hopefully the browser opens on the screen that I'm sharing. If it doesn't, I can just uh, show it. So okay, it has opened the page, and at the same time, let me share the prompt with you all. Okay, it is asking me some uh, questions. So I'll give it, I think, security by only giving access to things. So evaluate script. Okay, it's found the controls. It's evaluating script. It is currently on that input box. Okay, I have not gone there. It actually entered that thing. Now let's see what it does next. Page is live. Hex field is Triosyn driving. So it's switching to RGB controls. Okay, okay. Evaluate script. Generate colors. And yeah, and there we go. Generated a teal shade, and here are the three color teal palette, primary, secondary, and tertiary. Can give me a software version, CSS variables, and everything. Okay, perfect, done. Right. So one example of how you could use it, and I guess one thing that I would like to point out is one of the habits that would make a large difference is like using the phrase like use Chrome MCP or use the browser, because in my experience, and that could be just actually just my experience, but in my experience, if you tell it to do something, it goes like all agents try to go code first. But if you use the prompts, if your prompt contains the words like use the browser or use Chrome MCP, then it actually opens MCP, actually opens browser, runs things, and gives you like an output. Okay, and you can also ask for evidence, so show me the console output that you saw, and uh, or screenshot, take a screenshot and share that. Or if there's, let's say, in this case, after generate colors, you can do export colors, and we can ask it like give me that export colors. Okay, export those colors and give it to me. So yeah, I guess that's it. Any questions, anyone? Ah, check-in link. Yes, I had shared one, but let me share it again. Okay, cool. I guess that is majorly it. Now, uh, hopefully that was a big enough and quick enough introduction. Now, coming back to our code and what we are going to do. So, showed you the most powerful aspect of this entire project. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you how we can use it to debug a broken page.html. So, this is a broken page. It has errors, it has bugs, it has console errors. So, a lot of things basically. And we are going to write some code here, okay, to analyze this page, audit it, compare it, demo it, and so on and so forth. Okay. Uh, do I have ESLint installed here? No, right? Oh, I do. Let me uninstall it. Okay. Uh, the reason why, because the entire project uses Biome for linting now. So yeah, that's why there was that warning slash error. Now, if you all have poked it and clone it, okay, there's one question. What's the main use of this and how people use it in production? Everything that I showed you is exactly how you would use it in production. Uh, just the website would be like, let's say you are a web developer and you're developing a website. So in your case, you would be running like, let's say, localhost, and you would be giving prompts where you would tell it to fix certain things by going to your localhost version and, you know, clicking some buttons, checking some aspects of your website, maybe accessibility wise you will be checking it, performance wise you will be checking it, or if you have uh, deployed it to dev of your work, okay, a dev branch, you have deployed a dev branch, you want it, you want to check the performance of that. So that's like every prompt that I've shown you and every prompt that we have gone through so far is exactly how you would use it in production. Just the URLs will be the ones that you are developing. Okay, I guess that's one way to put it. Best practices for traction. Well, again, that depends on how precise are you with your prompt. If you tell it optimize my website, that's a huge prompt, which could mean anything. Okay, it's a very vague prompt. Uh, so giving it like, here's my localhost URL which is running, optimize this entire website. Big prompt. Okay, can take a lot of uh, tokens. But if you are very precise about like, when I enter my email in this form and I hit submit, I am getting an error. Debug it and fix it. Now this is precise, so it knows that which form to go to, what element like the text box or something to check out, and also uh, the console for the error and possible fixes of where to find that in your code base. Okay, so again depends on the context of where you, how precise you are with your instructions, as in case with any other systems, any other prompts that you ever give actually, right? Okay, so sorry, coming back, so this is page doctor starter code, and the thing that we are going to focus on and the thing that we are going to build is actually around setting up. Hmm, setting up a Gemini as your AI agent. Then we'll have some scripts here. So in package.json, we'll have some scripts here which will test our AI setup, diagnose any errors, demo it, compare it. Okay, so these scripts are the ones that we are going to run. It will use Gemini to kind of start up Chrome, uh, like do exactly what Chrome DevTools MCP would do, and actually analyze a website and audit it, compare it, fix bugs, tell us what errors there are, and yeah, just help us kind of have a very precise output. Okay, maybe help us fix things. So we'll do it two ways. Step one will be to actually just run this page, okay, run this website, run this demo page, and then uh, go to Copilot, tell it to use MCP, find the errors, and debug it. So that's one way. And then I'll also show you how to add Gemini and make it do the same thing. Okay, make it do the same thing is the keyword here, because in that case we don't have a chat engine or something here uh, on the right, or a chat interface. It will be mostly code driven. Okay, so that's yes, one of the major parts of what we'll do. So we'll install Chromium, we'll have API keys, we'll run a test setup to check the dependencies, browsers, API key, and Chrome DevTools uh, protocol. Okay, it will check all of that, then actually calls the model, and then we'll tell it to, okay, go to, like, we'll run the demo page, and then we'll tell it that audit that page, find issues, uh, tell me how to fix them, check like diagnosis on slow 3G. So you can, if you are allowed access to download a library, I would say, uh, and after that I guess majorly, uh, you can write code which runs exactly what you could do from chat. Okay, so we'll write a project which will do exactly what you could do by going through a chat. And that is only because if you want to automate it and you want to run it headless on some server, okay, where you might not have, I don't know, Claude installed and a visual thing, in those cases such projects and such setup will help you diagnose errors. Okay, cool. Okay, we have time. Nice. So step one, please get clone. Step two, go inside or cd into the page doctor project. So let me do that. Then next step would be npm install. So let's run npm install, and that should install node modules and the package lock.json. Okay, once that is done, the next step is going to be uh, npx playwright install chromium. Okay, so using npx to kind of install chromium, and then the next step is going to be we have to create a .env file. Okay, and we will copy paste this entire example, except there's no Gemini key here, and there are details on how you can get your keys. And since I have prepared for the session, I know that when I tried to use model of Gemini 2.5, it is retired and it was returning 404. So that is why we are going to go with 3.1 flashlight. So basically a cheapest model that I could find for the purpose of this session. Okay, but you can bring your own API keys from any other platforms you need. So, example, if you have the Open AI, you can get those API keys from here. Uh, for Anthropic Claude, you can get it from here. And if you are running local models, okay, I'm pretty sure there has been a session on running local models. Uh, but if not, I think it's very simple. Just download LM Studio. Okay, that is how I'm running a local model. And you can use any of the available models, free open weights models, run it. It is huge. So those models like are in tens of GBs, so 30 GB, 50 GB, and they use a lot of RAM. Okay, I tested out on a friend's laptop. It was M5 Max with 64 GB RAM, and even that one, it was using like without any settings, like going with the default recommended settings, it was using up to I think 48 gigs of RAM. Okay, so local models, yes, take a lot of memory, but it's free, right? So yeah, you could do that, and or Olama or any other OpenAI compatible model. Currently, we're setting this to false. So again, I have details on what you have to do or want to do. So we're setting it to false so that you can see it in action. But you can set it to true, and that's when it runs in a autopilot mode. Kind of, you don't see the browser ever. Okay, but it runs. It uses the browser interactions. Okay, the Chrome DevTools. So everything aside, I think the major thing is the Gemini API key, which we have to get, and it's very simple. All we have to do is visit aistudio.google.com. Okay, and once you visit here, let me also share this link in the chat. Oh yes, I will paste those in chat as well. Sorry about that, I missed it. So one was just ensuring that you are in page doctor project and running npm install. So the first command that I ran uh, is npm install, and the npx command was to download playwright, download chromium. Okay, cool. Okay, so step one, go to AI Studio and ac- acknowledge the agreements. And once you have done that, okay, you can go into the dashboard section, API keys, and click on create API key. Okay, you can read the API quick start guide. Here you go. Okay, on how to use it. Like, you can build an interaction, use interactions API to build with it, and this is their recommended way of doing things. Okay, main part is like getting an API key. So you can click on create API key, give it a name. Okay, and you can just create a project here, name it something. Okay, let's say MLH uh, project, MLH GHW project. Okay, click on create project. That will create a project. And once you are done with that, then uh, I have it already in my personal one. Let me just go over there. Hmm. So this is one I had created long ago. Uh, Create API key, choose a project. Okay, after you have chosen a project, click on create key, and that will automatically create a key. Now, API keys are personal, or they are supposed to be hidden, they are supposed to be secret, so please, please, please do not show it to everyone. Okay, now in my case, I already have created a key. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that key, but I'm not going to show it to you. Very important, right? API keys are secret, but as soon as you have it, just replace this bit with your API key. Okay, so let me just move this, and done. Okay, so I have copy pasted my key. As you will notice, that .env file is actually not going to be pushed on GitHub because it's in .env is in git ignore. Okay, so yes, we are ensuring or going to ensure that. Hmm, okay, so we are going to ensure that it is not shared with anyone. Okay, okay, cool. I guess that's it. And okay, not going to share it with anyone, not going to open .env file right now again. And these keys are free. So free in the sense that there's a free tier that you can use right now. But it, of course, there are restrictions around how much you can use it. So I think it's something in minutes, if I am not wrong. Like, you can only use X amount of token uh, for like in a minute, or it's like kind of minute. I don't really remember what exactly is the time, but it is something like 100 k tokens, something. So it's basically like very, very less. Okay, so free tier uh, is less, of course, and it is rate limited, so we want to ensure that we are not using it for like useless purposes in a way. We want to ensure that for this project, for this demo, we have uh, our key not expiring and not going into a paid mode. Okay. So again, free tier key, and I'm using again a free model, or the least cost, not free, but the least cost model, just so that yeah, I don't end up using everything, or I don't end up using all my tokens together. Okay, cool. So with that, I guess the next step we are going to do is da, 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 let's test it. Okay, so since we have added the key, we want to check if the test setup works. So if you go to this one, in your package JSON, you will see that in source folder there is a test that's setup.js. So let's go there, and it is going to check the setup that you have on your system, and if there is something that isn't working, it is going to show you an error. Okay, so let's do that. So I'm going to run npm run, what was it, setup test dash setup, checking the node.js version and everything. Dependencies are installed, playwright browsers are installed, uh, AI provider is configured to be Gemini, Gemini API key exists, and Chrome DevTools protocol is reachable. Okay, setup is completed. Next, try running uh, demo, but we're not going to run demo. I also want to test the AI setup that it works. So npm run test AI, and okay, we have an error that the AI function is not exactly implemented in our code, which is fine. And the next suggestion that you will see there is to run the demo. So when you run demo, it will start up the browser on this particular port. And let me show you what it actually did. It's just too quick. Ah, so currently it is crashing because we have not implemented everything. But the idea is that it opens this particular page, and this is the one that it's going to audit. Okay. And the demo is basically running this demo project broken-page.html. Okay, if you want to see that page, you can literally just open any HTML page in any browser. So that's one way. Or if you have installed an extension called as live server, okay, this one, this one will allow you to actually run a HTML page live on port 5500, 5500, I think. So I'm going to open this HTML, and I'm going to click on go live, which opens up the page on this one. Okay. So this is the page. The very simple page that I've created. If you right click inspect, go to console, there are some errors. All of these errors are the ones that we're going to ask our AI model to use the Chrome DevTools protocols, Chrome DevTools APIs to find and fix. Okay. Now I can just stop the server, and there we go. Perfect. So now we have a few things that we want to implement, of course. Let's start from the very top. Uh, AI.js. Okay, that's the one that we want to implement. Now there are some starter codes that already exist, and the reason was that I didn't want to waste your time, of course, in you know adding a few things, adding like defaults and stuff. Okay, so let me clear this. Let me minimize this, and here we go. So this is our AI.js. All it does is there's an extract interaction text that we have. There's ask AI, there's test AI function, and uh, the path to test it, right? So let's start from the very top. Now, again, I'm going to focus on it from the perspective of Gemini AI and Gemini API, but uh, we can create like a provider which is OpenAI compatible. Okay, most of the providers are OpenAI compatible, I would say, in a way. So I have it installed. We can wrap it, like it gives functions, it gives functionalities, it gives classes or methods, whatever you call it, to interact with any AI model that you want to bring to this project. Again, in my case, I'm going to simply just mm, okay, cool. So AI.js, let's start the implementation. Uh, so step one here is uh, a function extract interaction text, and it is currently returning null. So in this piece of code, actually, let me also enable. mm, Okay, enable this. Enable Copilot. So we want to pull out the assistance text out of an interaction, and we want to basically uh, show the output, right? So in this case, like I know what it is, so that's why I can just write it out. So the interaction is triple equal to string. Oh, this is not test, this is text. Triple equals to string, and an interaction dot output text dot trim. In that case, we want to return. Okay. So what's going to happen here? So the output that comes back, it contains like an array of objects which will be like type of thought, type of text, and like the type is defined. Example, let's say text, and then the text is defined, which is hi. Okay, that's an example. So we want to ensure that we get those prompts, get those texts. Okay, so that is kind of going to be our major focus here, to get that prompt or get that text out. Okay, and I learned all of this again, of course, by testing it out, by writing it, by running it, and then using AI to actually check if it works, it doesn't work, and what's failing. Okay, so if you don't understand the bits and pieces of this code, that is completely fine. We can use Copilot to kind of write it for us, right? So next is const chunks, and that is going to be an array. const step of this, and if that is null, use an empty array. And in this case, what I want to do is if step dot type is not equal to model underscore output, continue. And for const part of step dot content, if it is not null, perfect. Okay, so we are basically taking every part of the text that we get from the agent, we are putting it in these chunks, and at the end of these chunks we really want it to return chunks.join. And we don't need all of this, just dot join is enough. Okay, next we have the ask AI function. And the ask AI function, this is the one that we are going to ask any question. It will take a system prompt and a user prompt. We can technically also provide a bunch of options if needed, uh, like temperature, max output token, schema, how many retries it has to do, so on and so forth. Okay, we'll have to ask the like we can uh, pass in a bunch of those options, and then uh, the output that it will give like a string response. Okay, to explain something. So let's do that. So there's a system prompt, user prompt, and options we can do, which we can set to empty, asking AI something here. And we can right before this const, and right here we can be like temperature equals zero point 0.7, max output tokens, and schema, and retries, retries, and we can set that default to 2. So these are all the options that we can have access to, and it is asking this. And now we can have, instead of, we can delete all of this part of code, and we can say for uh, let attempt equals to 1. So we start from 1, we go up until 2, so basically just 2 attempts. And we can do a try, and we can say yes, if AI provider is Gemini, in that case we can implement ask Gemini function. Okay, so I'm going to just do a try catch here. Mm, okay, so we'll have to implement uh, this bit where we tell it that, oh, go and get details from Gemini. Now, you know what would be easy slash interesting, that I give you the entire code. I guess in a way that would be easiest, right? uh, can do that actually. So let me just quickly, Actually, let me create it just in case. Uh, Make it easier, right? So we want to create a function where we configure Gemini. So that's one way. Or we can try and put like use the Gemini model itself and add it. Uh, so those are the two ways. If I am going to go the Gemini way, easier would be that we go to Gemini API, the JavaScript, and we have to install this package. Okay, that's the fastest way for us to get started with Gemini. So I'm going to go right here. I'm going to add that dependency, and the latest is 2.16.0. So let me just add that. Okay, it has added the packages. Now we don't need to import it here. All we can do is just import it up top, right? And this piece of code can be improved now. Okay, so we're using the official uh, library, the Google Gen AI SDK, to connect to the model that we want, the temperature, which is this, the client chat. Okay, so we are going to wait for whatever is the system prompt, whatever is the user prompt, how many max tokens we want to kind of get out of it, what schema. And interaction text is our function where we check what type of interaction it is, what kind of response comes back, and we give out a proper response. And we'll also console log, okay, the response, of course. So that's the next function. And finally, the test AI function. So we are testing AI connection, and we need to just, we can do a try catch. And while this is good, I guess, yeah. System prompt is you are a helpful AI assistant, and user prompt is what is the capital of France. We can change it. Okay, so the system prompt is you are a helpful AI assistant helping users debug uh, their code using the Chrome MCP library and Playwright. Okay, and I guess the question could be, uh, what is the best way to use the Chrome MCP library with Playwright to debug a web page? I guess this is a good question. And yeah, I guess this is it. Nice. And right on time, where we have set up the AI. So the command that we want to run is this test AI. Let me clear this npm run test AI. Ah, you might need to rewrite. Client.chat is not a function because it's supposed to be this ai.interactions.create. So let me just quickly put it up top here, and then we want to use but we want to pass it the agent, the model, and perfect. Okay. Okay. So we are reaching somewhere. I'm not using the SDK right, it seems. Unknown parameter temperature. Okay, don't really need it. Okay, perfect. So, uh, this is what happens when you try to do it live. Okay, so everything that I had written was for OpenAI right now, OpenAI SDK. But I'm now using this one, which is kind of being proper pain for me. Let's see if I just give it directly the input. And the model, let me take this particular question and give it to this model, and our ask AI function can be just that. Ah, okay, finally, testing AI connection, asking, and response is not defined. Okay, so nearly there. Uh, it would be easier for me to not do all of this and just return the output text. Perfect. Should have gone with easy way, right? Rather than the hard way. So here's the output that we have got. To use Chrome MCP with Playwright, you're essentially connecting an AI agent to the browser instance controlled by Playwright. This is the architecture, the implementation approach, installing dependencies, what you need to install, create MCP server, like browser-server.ts file if you need. The TypeScript code is right here, the best practices for debugging. So I guess these were some questions that were asked by you all in the chat, like how can we make sure that we can connect to it, the visual debugging, and how to connect to Claude Desktop is also here. What's the best way? Observability here, tool narrowing, and real-time interaction. Important caveat. Uh, and here we go. I guess this is the most complete guide we can have for the actual implementation. So I guess this is the perfect time to take a pause. Once, so this is the end of like the first session. We spent some time just fixing this one out because I tried to use the actual API, which is not what I have built out. So that's fine. The errors were helpful enough for us to debug, I guess I would say. And the API guide is amazing to tell us everything that we need. So I guess this is the perfect time to take a pause. It's also the end of first session. In the second session, once we are back, I will have everything uh, kind of like of AI.js added so that we are only left with analyzing, okay, auditing, comparing the demo, diagnosing errors, reporting errors, okay, and the web vitals test. Now, again, most of this code has already been written by me. So we'll follow that to the T. We'll try to ensure that it is going to work out as we need it, and I'll also show you the way when I was kind of doing the practice run, uh, every libraries that I've used and how I used it, and every piece of code that was written. So in the meantime, let me just push this. So this is one version. This is not the perfect version yet, but it should be there very soon. Let me commit this and push this so that at the end of it, you at least have this piece of code where you can actually at least talk to it, get some details, get some data. And here we go. So here's all the changes from this session. This is the perfect time to stop. It's also like 2 hours now. So let's take a quick break here, 10 minutes. Let's come back in 10 minutes for session two, where we will continue building this out, actually building it, actually doing some interactions. And yeah, all the starter code will be here on GitHub. So yeah, that's it. Any questions, anyone? Also, before we log off for 10 minutes, take a break. Uh, can you please fill this feedback form? This will help you, help me, help MLH. Any constructive criticism is welcome. All you have to do is open it, and this was the Chrome DevTools Part 1 session. Should take 3 to 5 minutes. Chrome DevTools Part 1. Provide any feedback that you have, and yeah, that's it. Okay, any questions, anyone? Excuse me. Okay. I take the silence as golden. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. See you all again in 10 minutes for part two. I'll start the session, like, I'll start the streaming in after 5 minutes, but we'll actually start the content after 10 minutes. Okay. Cool. Thank you so much once again, everyone. See you in a bit. Bye bye.